So we're live now. If anyone can hear us, who knows? But I just need to do all the other things. I can pause that. I always pause the live stream preview that I have there just so it doesn't use up so much memory. And then I need to take this screen and move it down here. Yay! So now it's... You can't see us both, can you? I don't know if you can see me. Oh, you can see it. Ah, so you can see me up there. Oh, that's me in the corner. Oh, REM, losing my religion. Oh, I've got a wired cable in though, so maybe not a good idea. If you just see me suddenly strangle myself. Uh-oh. Are you getting the two red things pop up? I think it gives you an option to change your resolution thing down from like 1080 to 720 or something, which might help. Oh, now I've got it. Get away. It wasn't an issue at all when we did the first one. Yeah, but now that they've added the feature where you can now change the performance on the fly, it's become an issue. So I'm ignoring it. And my PC isn't doing anything special noise-wise. Anyway, are we ready to switch scenes and unmute everything? Yeah, so we'll just get right into it and don't need to do a lengthy, awkward intro that I'm not good at. So, hello, how we doing? It's another episode. It's episode 1, but it's technically episode 2 because we did an episode 1 2 months ago, which was called Zero, which was a testing platform. But here we are for the main show.
Exciting.
So, got here guest host Magus Chesa. Did I get it right this time? I'm thinking
Yeah,
Italian cheese.
cheese. Yeah, Vegas. Cheese is fine. Chives is
Us.
fine too. It sounds very unique.
So, if you'd like to introduce yourself, who are you? Where'd you come from?
Oh, do you want my entire backstory?
Just
uh,
the 30-second one.
just the 30-second one. Well, I am Chisa. Also, well, that's my nickname. My real name's Karina. I am a community manager in the gaming industry. Been so for about 5 years. A huge background in gaming, 7 years. Yeah, where I came from is Norway. I'm originally from Norway. I'm in England. I've been here 17 years. So that's a very
A
condensed
very long
story.
time. Which is
Yeah,
why
very
you
long time.
sound very kind of local.
I have integrated very well. Yes, I have assimilated a a persona
Hey,
that fits in with the British culture.
you're now one of us.
Yeah,
And,
I do quite like
but we're not.
uh, England, so
Yeah.
it's nice.
I was going to say we won't let you go, but then you have your dreams. So you will have to go on sometime. But yeah, this is a Rendezvous Hour podcast where we're going to talk about all the nerdy things: games, movies, TV, books, maybe, anime,
Yeah.
and end things with mental health. Still need an official title for that segment.
Mm,
But if
we
any
could brainstorm.
viewers, yeah, could brainstorm or viewers with your suggestions, post them in chat or in the YouTube comments when the video gets uploaded. hmm If you're watching this on YouTube now, then welcome to the past. Anyway, shall we talk about our first topic? If I could
Yeah.
remember how to do this, because I've got the wrong screen up.
Jan,
Um,
tune for
yeah,
technical difficulties screens.
we are going to talk about this. Oh,
Ah,
can we see it?
yeah, we can.
There it is. So, back at the beginning of April, before the BAFTA Video Game Awards, they posted their most iconic video game characters. There was a poll, and it's an interesting poll results. So we got here who's the most iconic video game characters of all time, and was there was quite a debate going on about this because it was quite controversial because there was a lot of very recent characters from games that people have only just been exposed to, and people were wondering, can they be called iconic? Which posed the
Ah,
question, what makes a character iconic? How did they get iconic status? Is it someone that's in the public eye? Is it someone that's changed the industry? Is it someone who's just been around a long time? Because I mean, I just got a bit older. Am I iconic? I don't know. So,
I
shall
don't
we go
know.
through this list?
Yeah, let's.
For some reason, it's a top 20, but they've listed it 1 to 20, so we're going to quickly go down there. You never saw anything, and we're going to work our way up. So, number 20, Nathan Drake. What do you think?
Well, I only know about this character because of you, I think, because you've talked about Uncharted. So for me, I would not know about this character.
Yeah, well, Nathan
And Tom
Drake.
Holland played him in the movie,
This is
I
true.
believe.
And we won't talk about Mark Wahlberg in that movie because that was an odd casting, I think. Although I've never seen the movie, so I shouldn't judge. But I thought that was an odd choice. I thought they would have gone with someone a bit more older and grey if you
Yeah.
played the games. But yeah, Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series. You've got the four games and the spin offs. You've had the movie. It's one of the main PlayStation characters now. Um, it's a lot of people call it the secondary Lara Croft because it's all tomb raiding of sorts and everything. But I think Nathan Drake has kind of earned his status there, his position, perhaps top 20. He's definitely
Mm.
an iconic character, but in top 20, who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah. I think one interesting point I heard from I was watching a playthrough with I think someone was playing it through and they talked about something called ludonarrative dissonance when it comes to Nathan Drake and Uncharted because he's supposed to be portrayed as a really good character, but
Mm-hmm.
then he he does murder a lot of people on his
Yeah,
way. So it's like he's supposed to be portrayed as a good guy, I think, and then there's just bodies everywhere in his
yeah.
wake.
In a
So
weird
it's
bit of a
interesting.
way, he is technically a murderer and a thief.
Yeah.
In a good way.
But he's not really portrayed as such, really. People are like always consider him to be like
Hmm.
good.
He's a modern day kind of pirate in a way,
Yeah.
in a sense. Although the whole Drake thing kind of fits because Drake being an explorer. Was Drake a pirate? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, shall we move up the list? Number
Yeah.
19. Ellie Williams, The Last of Us. Now, I don't know if you've played the games, but I think you've watched the series.
None
No,
of it. None of it. No.
I thought you
I
had.
I've had no experience with Last of Us. The only experience I have is by proxy when people talk about it because it's become quite beloved by many. So I think when the series came out, everyone was very. I was educated by people who were watching it. But yeah, another character that I don't know and a series that I haven't interacted with, which
Hmm.
is quite interesting.
See, one of the interesting things here that I found out was that Ellie was in a comic book before.
Mm.
Even though I consider The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 collectively as my favourite game of all time, I never knew about this.
Oh,
But I do have my. If it's here, I can bring it out. It's my The Last of Us
oh
Ellie
yeah.
edition, which is Velcro, so ASMR.
Oh, nice.
That's a satisfying sound, isn't it? Oh no, I've just ripped. Have I? No. And it
Don't
opens
rip
up.
it all.
It opens right out and it's got tons of things there.
Oh, nice.
I was supposed to get that signed by Nolan North and Troy Baker at an Uncharted 4 reveal event in Paris. But someone from the PlayStation community team told me not to take it because it's not a Last of Us event.
Oh,
And I told Noah North about this, and he was not happy. He says, "You should have brought that. I would definitely have signed it." Mm.
oh,
So I was a little bit gutted that I left it in my hotel room.
yeah, missed out.
But yeah, this Ellie Williams in this top 20 list is one of those things where it makes you wonder what makes a character iconic. And I don't know if she quite goes into there or not because she's. When I think iconic characters, I think those characters have standed the test of time. They've been there around a while.
Yeah,
And
this isn't quite fitting that bracket.
yeah. Like if you name a particular gaming platform, I wouldn't say Ellie is one of the names. It just is the first one because if you think, well, it was exclusive to PlayStation. It's now on PC, but I would never say Ellie. You would think your Tomb Raider, well, Lara Croft originally, your Crash Bandicoots, your Sackboys, and everything. And Ellie would be a bit further down the list, and then pair this, well, put this in a field of all the other platforms. I don't think should be there.
Yeah,
Right, shall we go to the next one?
yeah.
Kazuma Kiru from
Another one
Yakuza.
I don't know.
This one I don't know either. All that I know is Shenmue used to be one of my favorite games. It was on the Sega Dreamcast, and friends told me if you loved Shenmue, sorry, you'll definitely love Yakuza. I tried it. I hated it.
Yeah,
So, but it's very popular series. There's a ton of them. They tend to come here quite late. So we'll
yeah.
move kind of swiftly on to someone who you know a lot about.
Ah, yeah. We got Astarion from Baldur's Gate 3. The nation and the country and the world's favorite spawn.
Yeah, tell me about him.
I think his appearance, or like when he first appeared in the trailer for Baldur's Gate 3, it was with a druid that had shifted into bear form, because the game is you can romance characters in it, so it became quite an iconic face there. But as soon as people started playing Baldur's Gate 3, everyone fell in love with him because he's very charming. He's a vampire. He's a little bit standoffish, but as you get to know him, he becomes very sweet and loving and caring, and you just kind of have to go through the game with him and help him come to terms with his past because he's been a slave for the last 300 or so years, and he's had some trauma in his past that he needs to deal with. So, but yeah, and he's incredibly handsome as
Hmm.
well.
See, I watched my best friend play Baldur's Gate 3
Yeah,
the entire playthrough, and I was kind of the same feeling with her, where it is a character that I didn't like to begin with.
yeah,
I don't know why. It just, but as you got to learn their story, they opened up more as you progressed, and you had that trust with the main character. You started to learn about what they've been
yeah,
through, and I've become to like them.
yeah.
And yeah, they became one of my favorite characters in the game.
I think that's very true of all of the characters and companions that you meet that's in your party when it comes to Baldur's Gate 3, because they all have their own little personality quirks and you help them deal with it and heal from it, or you sort of almost enable them to make some decisions that aren't, ideal. So
Hmm.
like instead of healing and helping Astarion deal with his oppressor, his slave driver, he can ascend and become what his master was to him, and then he will do the same to others. Or you can help him by telling him that he's better than that, because you gain more approval with him as you help him through the game. And you can tell him that he's better than that, and you can end the entire thing, slavery, and free the other vampires and stuff. So it's a really interesting game.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely recommend it. Although I think it's actually good now on PlayStation 5 because there was some performance issues in the third act
Mm.
once you get to Baldur's Gate. But yeah, I think it's not too bad now. But
Yeah.
I will say I don't I forget who's on this list, but there was two characters I never liked from the start, and that continued all the way through, and that was Liesel and Gale.
Yeah.
Never liked them from the beginning, and still don't like them at the end, and
Mm.
still don't like them now.
I think a lot of people have
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
One of them died in my best friend's playthrough, and one of them was romanced until my best friend switched over to Shadowheart,
Ah,
which
gotcha.
was interesting. So, but next
Yeah.
on the list, Cloudstrife. What do you know about them?
And now he has a big ass sword. That's it.
That's all I know as well. And I played the most recent Final Fantasy demo, and Final Fantasy VII remake, or was it remaster, or reboot, or director's cut? It was something. It was a PS5 version, and I quite enjoyed it. It was much better than the original. But yeah, that's all I know about Cloud.
Yeah.
Big sword,
Yeah. Big
compensating for
sword.
something. Hmm. Number 15, as I said, PlayStation iconic characters. One of them would be Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, I never played Crash Bandicoot,
I
so
I
I
played
thought
it.
of them, but
Yeah, I sucked at it. But I could never get past the first levels because I was just rubbish at Crash Bandicoot. But years later, Uncharted 4 came out, and one of the Easter eggs in Uncharted 4 is you're sitting down on the sofa in your beach house and you get to play the original Crash Bandicoot first level in
ah,
Uncharted, and I managed to get through it.
oh, nice.
And I thought, great, that's fine. But yeah, I think they could make. I think if this was a most iconic PlayStation characters, and yeah, Crash Bandicoot would be there.
Yeah.
Would they make a top 20 overall? I do not know. But number 14, I would say, yes, is an iconic character. Solid Snake.
Yeah. I never
Mm.
played any of the games, but I watched them be played, and I know about Solid Snake. I did not know that his real name was David.
This is new information.
Yeah, it feels a little less epic, doesn't it? No offense to anyone named
Yeah.
David. David is a wonderful name, but Solid Snake, David.
Mm. Talk to me, Dave. What you doing to me, Dave? Yeah, it just takes me to that. But yeah, I've definitely have them up there. I played all the Solid games, Metal Gear Solid games. Yeah, I enjoyed them, although I kind of grew out of them. But I did love everything that Hideo Kojima done, and thankful that he brought Solid Snake to everyone. And it wasn't Solid Snake himself, but it was the girl on the comms. I can't remember her name, but at the very end of the game, she says, "Choose life and live it," and that always stuck with me. So that's
Oh
something I've
wow.
always remembered.
Yeah.
Mm. But yeah, I would happily have them in my top 20. Steve, Minecraft. Who are they?
Steve. Um he's like a default like Minecraft character, I think. And I think he's like I think he's shown up in some videos series as well.
Mm-hmm.
I only know it from like when I started playing Minecraft was around the time Yogscast was starting to do Minecraft videos, like my way back in the day, like 10 years ago probably or something. And I know that Steve was kind of like a bit of a meme. It's like a default Steve skin, Steve Minecraft character, but that's all I know of that.
Yeah. I know nothing, just that I don't like Minecraft. That's it. I'm sorry. And I see we have Rogue Mando Gaming coming in right at a good time since Pikachu is next on the list. And can I do the thing here? I can. I think I can.
What thing are you doing?
I was pinning the message to. Oh no. There it is. Looking at the list, Pikachu needs to be moved up at least top 5 since everyone knows him.
Mm.
And that's a good point, but I would counter that with Pikachu is a top 5 iconic character, but are they a top 5 iconic game character? I think a lot of people knew Pokemon as a TV series and everything and all that before. Well, grew up with the TV series before the games came around.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I haven't played Nintendo since Super Nintendo, so and then you had all these Pokemon. Well, you got your Pokemon Go, you Pokemon Black and White and Gold and Yellow and all those things. I know all these things, but that's it. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean, I only know it from the Pokemon animation series. I never played any game with Pokemon or Pikachu in it, except for maybe I dabbled in a bit of Smash Bros.
Hmm.
But that's about it. So until I saw the series, I didn't know Pikachu existed.
Yeah. So there, I can. Yeah, I can understand Rogue's point about moving them up, but yeah, I just don't know video game side of things.
Yeah, I think from a gaming perspective, I wouldn't know about Pikachu if I was only exposed to Pikachu in games, for example.
Oh, Rogue says honestly good counter. Didn't really think about that from gaming perspective since I don't think you get a Pikachu till late game in most of the Pokemon games. Yeah, so yeah, but it's a good one to have a discussion about. Which brings us to number 11, Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm.
Hmm. I mean, love Red Dead Redemption 2. I've not actually finished the story because they brought out the online part of it, and then me and my best friend just spent like 500 hours playing the online. And I completely forgot that there was an even story in the game. Which I think a lot of people did. But Arthur Morgan, is he my. I don't think I'll put him in the iconic list because you've got. I've forgotten their name now, but the main character from Red Dead Redemption 1 is in the second one because Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel to the first one. So you get a younger one. But hey, John Marston, that's it. But yeah, I don't know if I wouldn't put Arthur Morgan there. I would put John Marston. If I was to put John Marston in the list, I would put them above Arthur Morgan. If that makes sense. But you've not played Red Dead.
Nope.
It's a good game.
I have seen gameplay of it, but it's not my kind of jam.
Even if I tell you you can get your own horse in stables and you can name all your horses.
It's the whole Western setting for me isn't an aesthetic or a time period that I vibe with at all. It's the same for Fallout, like the whole post-apocalyptic setting.
Mm,
I'm very much a fantasy setting kind of person. So if you go backwards in time to like medieval fantasy type
yeah,
things, then I'll jam. But like horses, guns, that kind of stuff, just not something. And I will admit, like when I've seen gameplay of Red Dead Redemption, like it is incredibly detailed and an incredibly fantastic game. Just seeing gunsmithing, and like looking after your guns and leathers and all of that is fantastic, but only for watching for me.
yeah, yeah. It's as I say, I love the game. I have my horses. I actually named all my horses after horror movie characters. So my main horse is called Mister Pennywise. Yeah, so it's my horse. But yeah, I wouldn't put Arthur Morgan in there. I'm sorry. I know there's Red Dead fans out there that would probably argue to their death. Yeah, but now here's again with my point earlier about should characters that are just in recent memory be included in here and would they be considered iconic? Then we have Shadowheart.
Yeah.
For that reason
I
alone, I wouldn't have them in the list.
yeah, I quite honestly am one of the people that despise Shadowheart with a passion. So,
Oh, why?
um,
Excuse me.
because she's very abrasive to start with and just quite secretive, and obviously she has her reasons. I know I've gone through the entire game, so I understand that she had her reasons, but I just didn't like her character, her personality. Just she was very difficult, and I just found her too annoying to deal with. And in fact, to start with, I would always call her Shadow Face
Mm.
because I couldn't remember her full name, like what's her face, and then in the end, it became Shadow Face. And then, yeah, towards the end, I was like, all right, whatever. Interestingly enough, she was in my party the entire time because
She was a good healer, right?
she yeah, she's a good supportive character. Beyond healing and protecting and just doing that kind of stuff, she was quite useless for me.
Hmm.
So she was just kind of my walking healing potion, basically.
Yeah, that's what. Well, she was that for. Well, when I watched my best friend play it, she was in the party the entire time, and she was just healing all the time, and she was always alive. She never died until you got to the very end acts, and where there was some really annoying bosses. Um, and of course, that's where my best friend ended up romancing Shadowheart over Gale. I think I was kind of guilty as well of pushing my friend to liking Shadowheart. So I know, but I don't know. But yeah, I like Shadowheart the character, but I think they were one of my favorite characters in the game. But I don't think they're iconic, or I wouldn't
Yeah,
even call them iconic in the actual game. So I wouldn't even put them as iconic in the list. I just think this is someone that's it's a poll that's been done and people have answered whatever recent games that they've played and favorite games, and they've decided to put them in the list.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, bringing up an interesting point, which for an iconic list, I would say the criteria should be one, shows up in a minimum of 3 games, two, no new characters from within the last 3 years. Yeah, I would sort of agree with that, unless with point two that they made such a big industry changing impact or something, then yeah, who knows? Like you've seen people do that, like music artists and everything. But then again, I wouldn't call them iconic. Number 9, Kratos or God of Dead. PlayStation iconic character for sure. All
Yeah.
time video game iconic character, maybe.
Again, not really played the games, but I know of Kratos.
I would put them up there. I remember I finished the God of War on PlayStation 4, and I actually tweeted saying I never liked the original God of War games because they were actually completely different playstyle and everything. They're all side scrolling, sort of, more platform type thing, whereas this was more adventure. And but then I said I loved it, and I would so much so that I would put the newer God of War games in my favorite games of all time. And people dismissed that part and focused on the negative part. And I got so much hate.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh, well, one thing, at least people are actually seeing my tweets. So, yeah, I've been seen. So, yeah, felt more validated. But, yeah, I would put him up there as an iconic character. But yeah, there's not much to say about that. He's definitely a PlayStation stalwart, but all time, I don't know if I'll put them that high. But then I see Master Chief is next in the list, and I think, yeah, maybe Kratos and Master Chief would be around about the same place.
Yeah.
Do you know much about Master Chief? From. Halo.
I haven't played the games again, but my dad was a huge fan of playing Halo. And I know of Master Chief as a character that has a certain type of mystery around them, and they have a certain type of character, like presence and everything. Because Master Chief is the I'm just pulling from memory here from what I know, so it might be incorrect. So do correct me if you know more. But he is one in a line of other Master Chiefs or creations of his kind, but he was slightly special because he had something extra, according to, I don't know, is it the AI that recognized that maybe he had luck or he had a certain something about him that made him different from all the other clones of himself.
Hmm.
So that's why he's become so iconic, because this Master Chief is special, which is why I believe I saw the whole, what was it, in the Halo series, some scenes were happening that wasn't true, or not true, but accurately representing the character as he was portrayed in the games. And also, his helmet was removed, which is like one of the things that Master Chief never does. The iconic thing about Master Chief is he's always fully suited up, and you never really see his face or anything like that.
Ah, I
As
didn't know
much as
that
I know about
happened.
him. Yeah,
Yeah,
I sorry if I've spoiled that for any viewers.
it's
But
fine. Nobody's
I
watching
think this the
apart from me.
scenes were romantic scenes, so it was like Master Chief in the series of the games always has this very slightly close relationship with the AI interface that is guiding him, but there's never that full romance, so it's always like this like speculation. But like in the series, they just went full on. Master Chief has romantic feelings and can feel excited and want somebody, and I was like, that was apparently a step too far in the series, which is why some
Hmm.
people didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. All I know about Master Chief really well, I know he's from Halo. I've played the first game, sort of. Didn't like it. Weirdly, I ended up loving Destiny. I know it's a completely different game, but made by the same people, and it has a lot of similarities, and it's got good weapon kind of systems and everything. It sort of akin to Halo. Did watch the first two episodes of Halo's TV series, then couldn't watch any more because I think the rest of it was stuck on Paramount Plus.
Oh,
So yeah, I didn't watch that. But yeah, I would definitely put them up there as an iconic character. Not from my personal viewpoint, but I can respect that as a fan of video games in general, and I know how much people love Halo.
yeah.
Now, number seven is someone who I know for certain you know about because you have them inked on you, right?
Yes, I do have a full Legend of Zelda sleeve on this hand. Link is here, decked out with Zelda. And yeah, for me, I guess maybe slightly biased would put him a bit higher up.
Yeah.
Just because he's so iconic from, back in the day of the Sega, and like really, really early on, like the first Zelda games with Link in it was side scrollers and like really basic games. But it's something that's been a presence in the gaming world since forever, and he shows up in a lot of his own franchise games, but also makes appearances, is that's the one, appearances in other games as well. And he's just got such an iconic look as well, with the yellow hair and the green tunic. Um yeah I Yeah, and he has a manga. I actually didn't realize this. He has a manga and
Mm.
a comic series as well. Um,
So definitely earned their place on the list.
yes,
And
yes,
I think I've mentioned this before to you that I've never played any Zelda game since the original Game Boy. So I don't know too much about Link beyond that, apart from all the other games that are just everywhere, of course, because they really are that popular.
yeah. It's a really like the story is always the same with Link. It's very similar to like Mario, how he always has to save the princess. and there's an evil guy that always kidnaps or takes the princess. It's very like if you compare like Zelda and Mario, you'll find that the narratives are incredibly parallel. But yeah, Link is always this like alien boy without parents who ends up in a Kokiri forest, raised by the Kokiri people who are just everlasting children. They just never grow up, and they are fairies. They've got fairies and such. But then he grows up, so they realize, he's not like quite like the rest of them. A bit like Elf, if you've ever seen that at Christmas.
Oh yeah.
um, yeah.
I don't know why, but I
So,
was thinking about the Simpsons because they never seem to grow up.
oh yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a lot of that happening.
Mm.
And he's always got this big quest to save the princess Zelda, and Ganon is like the big evil presence, and there's a triforce of three different powers, and Ganondorf, who's the main baddie, will always want to try and steal the triforce because Link has triforce of something I can't remember, and Zelda has a triforce, and then Ganondorf has one, so they all got to like put it all together. So yeah, there's a lot of specific lore going on, and there's a lot of continuous links like in the storylines. There's a lot of, if you're trying to piece the narrative together and the history in a very cohesive manner, you'll get a bit of a headache
Mm.
because sometimes the same link will be in two different places. Like you have Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask is like, I think I might be wrong, but is a continuation of the story from Ocarina. So yeah, there's a lot of lore things going into it.
Lore is good.
Yeah,
Keeps the fans interested.
yeah,
So well earned, well deserved, and on the list. And another one that's definitely deserved to be on the list, I think, is Pac-Man.
yeah.
Going way back to when did I first play Pac-Man? Possibly on the Atari 2600. So I'll be showing my age a little bit.
I never played Pac-Man until maybe a few years ago when I was at like a, what's it called, arcade,
Mm, yeah,
and then I played it. Yeah.
that's one thing I used to, well, I do miss is actually going to the arcades and playing classic games. Nobody does that now. Although I think it's starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah, there's a few arcades popping up around the place, which is quite nice to see. Some of them are turning into a bit more club environments, which I don't enjoy, but some of them are pure sort of come and play board games, play Mario Party, free games, slot machines, arcade machines, and just old school retro games.
Mm, it's a good era of iconic characters.
Yeah.
All there. But I think nowadays, most people will probably, or the younger generation, much younger than us, sorry, um, probably know Pac-Man best from the Pixels movie, which is you can probably give it a miss. I think.
Yeah, I have. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, you've not seen much if you did watch it. Next, Sackboy, who I have up there. Don't know if you can quite see. I might have to move the camera. No, I can't tilt it back. Oh, a
No.
little bit. It's right there. You know what you should do, Ren? Bring it to you. There we go. Sackboy looking all happy and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this is the category of most iconic PlayStation characters for me. But all time, maybe not.
Yeah, I never played or knew or know who
Yeah.
Sackboy is.
Well, we'll talk a bit more about Sackboy soon because there's going to be a next topic on Little Big Planet.
Oh.
Yeah, so moving swiftly on to Sonic the Hedgehog. That's a definite make the list. You
Yeah,
can't.
never played the games, but I know of him. I think Sonic is absolutely an iconic character.
Ooh, chat is saying Pixels came out 10 years ago. Wow. Yeah, we are old.
Yeah, that
Mm.
feels weird to know.
But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog, definitely iconic for me. Definitely makes the list. I would probably put them higher. They would either be one. No, I wouldn't. I would have Mario at one, so spoiler alert, they're probably on the list. But I would have Sonic at two, that high. But preference, I have Sonic over Mario, just to get that out there in the open. The blue hedgehog, my favorite. So much so, my old kitten that sadly never grew up to be a cat, I called Kinos, which was Sonic spelt backwards, because they were blue Persian. He looked like a
Hmm.
hedgehog. Next on the list, I certainly wouldn't have it this high on the list is Agent 47. I
Yeah.
don't I don't even know if I would even have it on the list. They are iconic, but top 20?
I I think they're like Agent 47 is really iconic for the visuals, like the bald head and the barcode in the back. I
Mm,
think that's the visual that's really stuck with people
yeah, and
because
sorry, go.
like my dad has the barcode tattoo in the back of his head with his like in Norway you have like a personal identification number, so everyone's got a number and it's like he's tattooed it on the back of his neck, but like in encoded, so you can't like make out what it is.
Uh,
And he shaves his head because he was like he thought that agent like thing looked really cool, but he'd never played the games. But it's so iconic that he was like, I want that tattoo.
I was wondering if he ever goes to the self-service checkouts and like leans back and tries to see what happens. No,
No.
no, because I've always wanted to know what happens when that if ever someone did that. But yeah, I would say they were iconic. I have played the games and I find them a bit too challenging for me. I was a bit rubbish at them.
Yeah, I'm not good at sneak games. Uh,
Yeah. I enjoyed the move, but I think the best thing about these games for me anyway was the music. I think it was an actual symphonic orchestra that did all the music. I can't remember if it was London or like the Czech or something, but it was. I loved the music in that game. So, shall we move on to number two? I'm a little surprised they're at number two, but here we have Mario,
yeah,
the most iconic, I would say.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Mario, for me, Mario has to take the first spot.
Mm.
I yeah,
There isn't much to say. I
200
mean,
video games.
yeah,
Over 200 video games. Like if that's not iconic, I don't know.
yeah. It doesn't matter, I think, what generation you're from. Even if you're born in the 40s or 50s and you're a pensioner now, you know who Mario is.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, they should be top. Nobody comes close. And interestingly, here, first installment in Donkey Kong series. Why is Donkey Kong not in the list? That's my
Um
question.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just
Okay.
I
Yeah,
was going
that's
through
difficult.
this list, and I was thinking while going through this list also who isn't on the list that I would have there, and Donkey Kong is one of them. And then I'm thinking like Resident Evil characters perhaps. But number one, here we are, Lara Croft. It's a fair. I mean, everyone knows Lara Croft. I think everyone knows Tomb Raider.
I only know it from Angelina Jolie in the movie. I had no idea about Lara Croft before then.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it did start off on PlayStation, didn't it? Until because it used to be Core Designs that developed the Tomb Raider games. And then it went a bit quiet, and then Crystal Dynamics came out and they did all the remasters. And then Xbox had exclusivity to Tomb Raider for, I think it was a year or two before it came back to PlayStation platforms. So even though she is pretty iconic, I can understand why people may have not heard to or been exposed to her too much because she was stuck on that PlayStation and Sega platforms for so long.
I think for me as well, like I was my gaming experience was my mum was on Nintendo, my dad was on Xbox. I was mostly play PC, and up until Final Fantasy X, and that's when I started playing on PlayStation. So I had none of the old school PlayStation experiences that most people would have had, because it was mostly Nintendo and PC and Xbox.
Hmm. So, but yeah. So that's the top 20 list. Is there any that you would put on there then? That's
That is not on there.
yeah.
Um,
Anyone that very just one name that very crystal clear front of the mind you can think of.
no, for some reason Banjo Kazooie came up in my mind, but
Oh yeah.
probably
I
not very iconic for people to know about.
I would say Banjo Kazooie is an iconic character more so than some that were on the list, like
Yeah,
Shadowheart and things like that. I would swap them. I don't know if they'd stay permanently on my all-time personal list, but for sure
yeah.
Banjo would be up there on a list higher than some that were on there. But yes, Rogue says in chat, Donkey Kong needed to be on the list. I agree.
What if any of like the fighting game characters as well, like
Oh yeah, like Ryu.
Mortal Kombat, like yeah, like you, like that, yeah, like I feel like that's a very iconic.
That's very valid. Yeah, I would definitely put yeah Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat characters. Even
Yeah.
Tekken main character, I can't remember the name, but they would possibly be up there.
What about the guy from Devil May Cry as well? I feel is quite, yeah. Well, there's a few that I would
Yeah,
probably, but that's more me knowing them more than those other ones. So not
yeah.
sure what they based the list on.
Dante from Dante's Dante
Yeah,
Devil May
Dante.
Cry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
possibly. It's a good few list. It's definitely a good topic, which has actually taken up a lot of our time already. Wow, and you can definitely talk about it a lot longer. But I think we need to move on to our next topic, which because we will be here forever if we don't, and it's going to be LB Little Big Planet 3 server shutdown. You've not played Little Big Planet, you said, didn't you?
No, I haven't.
So
No.
it's one of the iconic PlayStation titles. Sorry, I'm having issues here. I just want to bring up this IGN article. It is shared. We can see it on stream. There we go. IGN. So, Little Big Planet 3 servers were actually taken offline back in January because they were having technical issues, but then it's just been announced in the last few weeks that PlayStation have decided to permanently take the servers offline, which is a real shame. Now, I remember actually, it's not just Little Big Planet 3, but previous Little Big Planet games had issues with hackers gaining access to the servers, and they were posting like they were able to access people's accounts and post nonsense in games and make them appear on people's games. And it was also getting players banned because this content was appearing on people's games and streams and everything. So developers and that would assume that it was down to this player. But there was similar hacking going on with Little Big Planet 3, which caused a lot of disruption to the game, meant a lot of the online was unplayable. So the developers had to take this action to take the servers down temporary. It was supposed to be temporary, but now they've taken this action to permanently shut the servers down, which is always a shame when this happens, isn't it? Are you there?
Sorry, it was my mic was muted.
No worries.
Me talking very, very in depth about things and not being heard.
It's all right.
I was just saying, like, there's a lot of communities that are always really concerned about their favorite games being, retired, taking them offline, especially if it's like multiplayer or big online
Yeah.
communities, because you can't keep things going indefinitely.
Yeah,
At some point, it does reach an end, which is sad.
yeah. I think why this one is a real shame is because Little Big Planet 3 contains all the content, user created content from the previous games.
Yeah.
Because you could create all your own levels and mini games. There was thousands of them on the server. And as long as you downloaded them to your system, you can still actually play those. So that isn't too bad. And you can still play the single player story content, which I highly recommend. It's a lot of fun. But all those levels, all those games, all the mini stuff, people have even created movies on this before. And
Oh.
like mini series and everything. It's amazing what they've done. But all that's now lost forever, sadly, unless you've got it saved on your console or you've uploaded it to places like YouTube. But this is a real shame when this sort of game gets shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was in the news, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this as well is because something that else, it's similar in the sense that we're talking about server shutdowns, but it's a whole dispute that's going on with the original The Crew game, where the servers of that have been shut down, and not only that, but it is being removed from people's libraries.
Ah.
So people who want to try and put the game on their own private server things, because you know how you get a lot of these dedicated fans will do this and try and keep games alive. They will not be able to do this anymore because the entire thing, the licenses and everything's been taken away.
Huh.
So this is kind of further field things because several people have actually taken Ubisoft to courts on the fact.
Because isn't this a
Yeah,
product that they have legally purchased and owned?
yeah.
Or, yeah.
It's one of these things though, because every game that we get, it doesn't matter what it is, there's always a terms of use agreement and everything, all these agreements and stuff that you don't have to, but I think the vast majority of us kind of skip down all the way to the end and then tick the box and hit accept and then away we go.
Yeah.
Because if we
Yeah.
don't do that, then you have to like click decline, the game doesn't play, and then you have to get a refund.
Yeah.
But a lot of digital content, even I remember back in the PlayStation Home days, if because we actually used to back at PlayStation, I actually had to read through some of these terms of service agreements just to grab all the details so I can post it on the forums, telling everybody what the user rights are and everything. And it basically says that we do not actually own this content, we're basically renting it.
Oh.
And this is so the whole arguments that are going in court in the cases and everything as well. Yeah, okay, we understand that we may lose there then, but what can we do to change this? Is this right
Gotcha.
for the consumer? So I think this is.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll win the case on trying to get any sort of compensation that way because it's in an agreement that they accepted. But will this change how things are going forward when it comes to digital content, whether you own it, if you buy it, do you own it and you can play it indefinitely? When it comes to servers, obviously, if it's an online only thing, then that's different. But if there's offline content, should you still be able to play it?
Yeah.
Mhm. So
Huh.
I, I think,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, I think that was an interesting point because I know the crew is one of these games that people want to try and keep alive and manage to run on their own private server as well. But I'm sort of on. I can understand their point of view, but then on the other side, I'm thinking it's a very old game. You've had the Crew 2 come out, you've had Crew Motorfest, and it's the same with you can't, as much as you love these games, you can't keep them alive too long. It's good for nostalgia.
It's not like the good old days, when you bought a CD or a DVD of a game and then that was your game.
Yeah.
There's a lot more like online servers and stuff that's been hosted now. And you could even sell your game or donate it to charity, and you could like buy a game in the charity shop for like in Norway, for example, for 10 like equivalent of a pound, go home and put the code and it would work. there's a lot differences now in ownership of games.
Mm,
It's like at any point in time, do we actually really own any of our games? Because if we've all got digital copies of everything, but if everything gets wiped, it's like, oh well, you don't own this anymore.
mm.
It's interesting and terrifying.
Yeah. Because I remember the games of old, when you got a game, that was it. You had the
Yeah,
whole game. If there was bugs or anything with it, that was part of the charm.
that was the game. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
there
was
was.
just what you had to deal with.
Hmm. So yeah, I kind of miss those times. I love that we can
Simple
get these
times.
updates and everything and all that, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's shall we bring up Rogue's message? I personally believe that all live service games should give out the code that run the servers when it's time to retire the game dedicated server so that the players can host and run their own private servers like what the 2005 Star Wars Battlefront 2 servers have been. Yeah, I can see and sort of agree with that. As I mentioned earlier about the digital rights for owning items on PlayStation Home, one of the good things that they actually did is they made everything available so you can actually. There was this, I can't remember their name, but they were getting people's save files from PlayStation Home so they can rebuild the entire item database and all the systems and worlds and everything for PlayStation Home and then put it on their own private server so that can then live again. So I'm in full support of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we've managed to cover that in topic in a much shorter time than the previous one. Are you
Yeah.
ready for the next one?
Yeah, yeah. What's our next topic?
This one is all on you
Oh,
because
pressure.
you were somewhere last week. Where were you?
I was in London. Yes, I was in London attending a work event. Well, for work, but I also attended WASD or WASD. I
Mm-hmm.
say WASD. I think the jury's out on which one's correct, but everyone says it differently. I say WASD.
I kind of
But
flip
yeah,
between the two. Yeah.
yeah, WASD takes me less time to say and it just flows better.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about WAS is it does sound very similar to something that was quite offensive when I was younger. Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, so I played a few of the games. The first two ones here actually are really, really, really lovely, and now by the same developers. Um, so Horticula is one of my favorites right now. The key art looks a lot more smoother and cartoony than the actual game is because the game is very pixelated. It's very pixel garden building, and the green again is a lot more. It just looks like it's key art actually. So it's got hex grids, and it's almost the same premise of you are trying to garden build. You're helping these little green fellas make the earth all growing grass and all that. Same in Horticular as well, except it's like celestial mystical gnomes have summoned you to a wasteland to build things. um Horticular has a demo on Steam at the moment if you want to play it, and it basically has no demo expiration time, so you can sit. I know that someone's played about 40 hours of the demo on Horticular, so it is almost endless. I don't know about Green again, but I think it has a demo on there as well that you can check out.
Mm.
Yeah, those are the little gnomes, but it's quite cute.
Would you like to play the trailer?
You can if you want, yeah.
Mm. It's a short one. I think my audio. Is that a little loud, perhaps?
Yeah, it was a bit. You're good now.
I think I've seen this. When was it? A couple of months ago. Actually, it was more than a couple of months ago. I think it was October. There was the Women in Games event going on, and I'm sure this was one of them.
It's really wonderful because you can build biomes and it will attract animals and stuff, and you can name the you have to create certain plants and things in their biomes for them to thrive, and then you have these little gnomes that come and help you out. They'll write you letters and give you guides. You'll unlock things. It's really wholesome and relaxing.
Hmm. It looks interesting. It's not a game that I would probably go out and buy, but it was something I would possibly have, like if I had a Switch or some sort of handheld, or if it was like a mobile game, it would be something I'll just lay in bed and play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard a bit of an echo there with you, but I think it's okay now.
Gotcha. That's
Yeah,
good.
it went a bit
Um,
darlicky. What else do we have on here?
Pine Hearts is something that people are really excited about. I haven't actually played it myself, but it's like a little puzzle adventure game. And it's got really cute visuals that people were really falling in love with. And the booth was really nice. The devs at the booth was really sweet and handing out like a sticker sheets. Hold on,
Mm-hmm. No worries.
let me get the sticker sheet. So like you have this
Oh
giant
yeah.
sticker sheet. Sorry, it's a little bit blurred because of my settings, but yeah, there's like this. All of this is like stickers. I was going to try and play the game at the event, but it had queues and people playing all the time, so it was quite popular. I think
Yeah.
it's the era of like just cozy sim and building games at the moment because everything else seems a little bit dire in the world, so people want to feel chill.
It's kind of giving me Animal Crossing type vibes.
Yeah, yeah, it has that, and it has just a really smooth, strangely pleasing visual style, which is quite nice. Um, I didn't try any of the other ones there, but the Holy Gosh Darn, I think, is a Yogscast Games game.
Oh yeah, I know them a long time
Uh,
ago. Oh.
yeah, so they are the publisher of that game. So that's the only thing I know about that, which was quite interesting. But there was loads of people around that booth as well. Um, and it was one of the few booths that had fuller setup. So some of the indie games had like one table and like one screen, but this one had like a couple of screens and a wider booth.
Mm. I mean, I don't have the audio on for this one, but it looks as if it's got some sort of comedy just by the characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's got like slapstick comedy and interesting scenarios and stuff. I think it's going to be funny. Maybe like slightly South Park-ish in terms of like
Mm.
comedy, I think. From
That
the looks of
appeals to
it.
me. I
Yeah.
there's a lot of these games and cartoons and everything that are kind of like breaking the fourth wall thing, which like what Deadpool does, and I'm liking that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I just recently started playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and that's got kind of this fourth wall
Yeah.
vibe going on.
Yeah.
So I like it. What else do we have here?
Uh,
Played any of
so
these?
uh bottom left there you've got Angerfoot by Devolver. So Under Children of the Sun.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Angerfoot is by the developers that did Hotline Miami,
Oh yeah.
and you'll probably see it straight away when you see like the key, like the play gameplay. But you basically like go into the room, same like you did in like Hotline Miami, and you need to tactically shoot everything in there. But you enter every room by just like Sparta kicking the door in or kicking your enemies, which is probably why it's called Angerfoot.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really drawn to the key art because it's very Borderlands ish.
Yeah, it's got a cell shading kind of look to it.
Yeah, it's got the cell shading and it just looks very dynamic and fun. So yeah, it's something I might be checking out. I didn't get to check it out at the event. And this character in this car here, someone was walking around cosplaying as that character, right, right behind the Cult of the Lamb mascot that was waddling around, which was quite funny.
Oh yeah, it's always good to see cosplay going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one looks interesting for me. If you buy that one, I'll definitely watch you play it. If you do stream
Yeah,
it.
I think I might. It's not the type of game that I would actually like play myself, but I think it would be really cool to try out. And Devolver just does some really good games.
Yeah, and I haven't heard yet because we know E3's been officially cancelled, but Devolver used to have their own show at E3, so I'm sure they'll be doing their own thing still.
Yeah,
So it'll be good
yeah,
to
I'd
see what they've
imagine
got
so.
going on. Yeah, especially with the amount of games that they're involved in.
Yeah.
Scrolling down, any more here?
Yeah.
I want to talk about?
I think the next one I want to mention is probably a little bit further down. Paper Trail.
We're
Do-do-do.
getting there. There's a
There
lot
you
of games
go.
on this. There we go. Paper Trail.
Oh, it's not even all of them. Paper Trail is a really cute puzzle adventure in which you have to fold the paper of the world to get to certain places because it's blocked off. So you'll create new
Ah,
paths and solve puzzles by folding your world in papers.
it's a it's totally different concept from what I'm thinking, but when you talk about folding stuff in the world, it just reminds me of Tearaway that
Oh,
was on the PlayStation Vita, where you you would tear things and everything, and it would change how stuff was like. You can peel back things, and then it would change how the landscape would. Can you use that landscape to like bounce around or stuff and
oh,
all these different things? But it's quite different from this, but it just made me think of it. But
yeah. The
it's
visuals are really, really
yeah.
sweet, and the narrator is like really, really lovely as well. The music, it's very ASMR for anyone who loves to hear like crinkling paper because it will have paper folding noises, which is like
Oh,
something that I really, really enjoy.
this looks like it would definitely work well on the Switch with touchscreen.
Yeah,
Mm, make it more interactive. Yeah.
yeah. And then I got to try, it might be on here, Inferni. Uh,
Inferni. If you see another one, let me know.
there you go, Inferni, Hope and Fear, which not the type of game that I would ever sit down and try. But I got to chatting to the community manager that was setting up the booths. So it is a battle royale deck builder that is very reminiscent of Magic the Gathering cards,
Oh yeah.
and you will be 2v2. That's what we were, at least at the event, and you will play a card and you'll play a deck, but as you play your card, you'll target the enemy and then you'll see a sphere of that spell or that card going towards your enemy, and you can dispel what's coming towards you, and different things. And we were almost dying when I was like playing. Me and my friend were playing against two others, but I chose a class that gets very high damage when it's low health, and they had brought me back to down to 7 health, and I played a card that would double my damage as well as my damage already been doubled. So in the last few moments before spells hit me to kill me, I clutched the win, and it was a very, very, very good moment.
Oh, very
Um,
nice.
I've joined the Discord. They have play tests every Monday, and yeah, they're just getting feedback from people. Very, very small game, very small Discord and everything. So it's very, very early days, but kind of interesting. I'll keep an eye on it.
Nice. So how did you feel about the entire show in general?
It was really, really wonderful. A lot of people were really, really lovely. One game that wasn't actually displayed there is called Jotun Slayer Hordes of Hell,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very Diablo esque rogue like game. And I got to talking with the developer there, and we talked for ages. Like, anyone that I approached was just really lovely to talk to. Business cards, giving us goodies, talking about the game really passionately. The layout was really well laid out. It wasn't too crowded, it wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold. Everything was clearly like signposted. There was beer and food and coffee facilities. There was creator lounges. I went to the after party on the Thursday, which was lovely. They have an open bar,
Mm-hmm.
so for most of the event, we could go and get our beers for free. So I only paid £7 that night because I bought something towards the end of the night, like 10 or 11 p.m. I think that's when the tab had like exhausted itself and it was closed. But like it was really lovely. I would absolutely recommend it to anyone again to go to, especially if you're wanting to network and talk to people, because everyone's so keen to just network and get their game known. And it's, yeah, it was a really, really, really positive experience.
It's glad to hear it. I've not. I mean, you already had me at coffee when you said that, so yeah. But the last gaming thing I ever went to, I think, was 2016, 15, was Paris Games Week. And most of the time, it was just the games were on show, and there was just a ton of queue, and I never got to play anything. Didn't really get
Yeah.
to network at all. There wasn't much food facilities or anything. All the food stuff happened afterwards because at the end of Paris Games Week, there was the Uncharted event, VIP event, so you at least got access to that, and they did have the beer and everything, even wine and drinks and food and all that. It was a much more organized than the actual main event.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to go to more of these things in the near and distant future. So
You've got a few indie events happening up in Scotland. I think there's a few things going on up there. I know one of the studios that I'm in touch with and talk to a lot because I love their game at EGX last year. I think they're based up there, and they have a few like events that they can
hmm,
go to. Um,
yeah.
I definitely recommend the smaller indie events because you just get to sit and play a bit more. There was a guy that I was he was playing Preserve, which was a hexagonal another garden building, but it was more like biome building, so you had to like water tiles and build biomes and stuff. And I went over to just have a look at it, and the guy's like, do you need to sit down and play it? It's like, no, I'll try the Steam Deck. And the developer or the programmer was like, this guy's been sitting here for like 45 minutes playing this game because he's just so addicted to it. And I was
Mm,
like, you don't get that at the big event.
yeah. Yeah, the other event I was at, it was EGX, but it was actually Eurogamer Expo. It was before it was called EGX, and it was at some old fish market on the Thames many years ago. And I actually got to play stuff there, but it was like play it for 5 minutes and be polite and get off and let the next person go on, cause it was everybody cramped into this tiny little old market.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like the sound of these smaller events because one of the when you talked about things up this way, we used to have something called Edinburgh Interactive,
Yeah.
which used to be quite small, and there was quite a few keynote speakers. It was I actually met Peter Moore there, and so that was an interesting chat with him. But then that closed after a couple of years, which was a shame. And
Oh.
I'll have to see what else there is because the only thing I personally know about is Edinburgh Comic Con, which is out at the Highland um, grounds in Ingliston by the airport.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to
There's
say,
something called Scottish Games Week in October.
ah,
So
I
check.
I would check that out.
Yeah. I'm all clued into the indie space now. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I
Yeah,
just spit
I
out the
mean,
tickets. I'm like, I know all the things, almost all the things.
you're going to be my go-to for all things indie, aren't you?
Hell yeah, do it.
Yeah.
I really, really, I really love indie developers and indie games because they're so unique, they're so cool, they're so wholesome, and it's yeah, and it's one of the things that I really love is seeing games develop and seeing people who work on those games be like, okay, so here we have a demo, and then like 3 years down the line, it's like we're finally launching our game or something. It's like it's just so much more rewarding instead of a big AAA company announcing, oh, we're gonna do sequel this and that, and you're like, okay, and then you wait for a few years and you don't see anything about it. You just like, boom, there it is, and it's out, and it's like large,
Mm.
and it has a lot of issues and that. But like in the indie sphere, it's just the vibe is so much different. it's just something about it that I've really loved. Don't get me wrong, I've loved working in the big corporation and AAA and gas, and the division was, and still is a huge part of my heart. But there's something different about the indie sphere that I feel at home here.
So, I have more indie for you then. If you want
Yeah.
more indie, yeah,
Ooh.
because a couple of days ago we had ID at Xbox. I was supposed to watch this the other day. I never caught it live. I was going to tune in and watch it.
Ah.
I didn't. I did see a few things from it though that I am interested in that we can perhaps talk about. But did you see anything from this?
I didn't see anything from this, but I think that one of my friends is a voice actor for one of the games.
Oh, do you know which one?
I think it's Astor.
Oh, maybe it's on the list. Because I'm not going to go through all of well, I'm going to scroll all the way down, but we're not going to talk about them. But we can have a quick look to see what kind of may be interesting. But it is really good to see Xbox is and Microsoft really is pushing indie.
Yeah.
Because I would say up until maybe the beginning of PlayStation 4, all the indie stuff and support and love and everything was from PlayStation. And of course, Nintendo as well. Xbox didn't really have a big selling place for indies, but then of course they came out with ID Xbox, and they're giving these smaller studios a lot of support, which is awesome to see. Giving them that exposure.
Very nice.
Aster, that looks interesting just from
Yeah.
the video. You know,
Yeah. Looks like quite a
unfortunately,
few
yeah,
interesting ones there.
I would love to look into these in more detail, but it's going to be sometime here, and we're already over an hour into the stream.
Yeah, we can do. Oh, Dungeons of Hinterberg is from Curve Games publisher.
Ah, so you know
Yeah,
about this one.
yeah, I know about this one. Yeah, so this is something that we've been working on in the company background, and it's Micro Bird. That's the developer, and then we're gonna publish it. It's very cell shady, fun looking with like a
Mm-hmm.
bit of a Zelda-ish vibe to it. Except the protagonist is female. You got Louisa, um, and it's very much like Austrian Alps, like tourism, but with like monster slaying and networking. So it's got little puzzles and stuff. It's really visually pleasing to look at.
Well, I would definitely recommend this one to my best friend because female protagonist, red hair,
Yeah,
and monster slaying
yeah.
keeps her happy. That's her.
It's like a redhead Buffy.
Yeah. I mean, she's playing Elden Ring right now for the second time, and so yeah, she would love just monster slaying.
Yeah,
What else about Farah? This looks like it could be a visually nice game because
it looks a bit like Breath of the Wild Avatar.
Mm. Yeah, see, I just, well, not just, but a couple of weeks ago, I finished Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and flying around Pandora on your Ikran is just one of the best experiences I've had in a game. You get one of those wow moments when you finally kind of meet and pair with your Ikran and you dive off the cliff, and then it's like, wow. Yeah. It hits you in the feels, video games.
Very good.
Yeah. Video games hit me in the feels this week with Division, but we're not going to talk about that because that's a whole other podcast.
We should just do a Division podcast at this point, to be fair, Ren.
Yeah, I mean, there is a few of them already out there, and there's some of them that are no longer with us, but I wish they would come back and
I
do a
think
podcast.
we should do like an unhinged rage division podcast though.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Division, but there's some things that I'm really not happy about with the latest story. Humanity, I know this. These are the guys that made oh, what's it called? That awesome game.
That can be so many games, Ren.
I know, I've really narrowed it down. That black and white
Yeah,
kind of one in the dark. Ah,
and another
uh,
description that doesn't really narrow it down
yeah.
for us.
Does chat no come on? Humanity game. Oh, that's Google's not helping. It's coming up with a humanity definition. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing and my PC's just going to go silly. I can't remember. Ah, I'm not turning on my PlayStation to find out what it
Was
is.
it the one called Inside or something?
Yeah, there was Inside, but the one before that.
Yeah, I can't remember what the one before was called. But
Ah,
it's the same people, right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
that'll be good. I've seen that because I remember seeing this game a couple of years ago and it reminded me of Lemmings.
Limbo?
Limbo, that's it.
There we go. Now we can check that off our brain tabs because we're all a
Yes.
bit obsessive when it comes to finding things out.
Yeah. My brain doesn't work as well since I've switched to decaf. It's just not wired. It's still tuning things. This one here, Jackbox Naughty Pack. I have to talk about this one. Because as you know, I moderate the Snapfinger Click streams who do a lot of interactive games, and this year they're bringing out Awkward 2, which is described as Jackbox but better. But then Jackbox surprised us with the Naughty Pack, which I thought was going to be a compilation of their older games because they did do a starter pack which contained some of their best games. But no, Jackbox is going full on 17 plus mature rating, raunchy, spicy adult games. Which is going to be, obviously, with the Jackbox formula, it's going to be interactive. It might be a Twitch, YouTube, whatever streaming platform you're on, moderator's nightmare. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Have you played the Jackbox games before?
I have, yeah.
Ah,
Plenty of times.
yeah. I sometimes
Yeah.
stream them, but I've not done so for a while. But I want to get back into streaming again because it sounds good. As long as you avoid certain games that give the viewer too much freedom, like input of their own words or drawings or that, then if you end up with random people playing, it could get a bit dodgy. You got to be quick
Yeah.
to get rid of that. But this could be very interesting. It might end up being
Yeah.
late night Friday night stream with, I don't know, glass of wine or something.
Yeah.
Lost Worlds. This immediately makes me think of, just from the image, my mind is gone again. I'm thinking of three games. That game, the first one, when I have the, it's up here. I have the soundtrack or something. What? Life is Strange. That's what I'm thinking of.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I
just
thought it looked a bit cyberpunk or,
yeah.
Blade Runner.
But if you look up at gonna go Life is Strange 3. Look there. The artwork and everything, the front. That made me think just because of
Oh,
that.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that the telekinetic one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's probably going to be something completely different and nothing like it at all, but it just made me think of that bit. It automatically makes me want to kind of click on that and read more about it. Pal World, this is kind of went viral, hasn't it? Everybody knows about Pal World.
Yep. Is that the discount Pokemon?
Yeah, bit of controversy with that one. It's very popular,
Uh,
but it was, yeah, because of that, because it seemed to have ripped off a lot of things, but then everybody thinks it's really good. But I've not heard
yeah.
about it in recent weeks until, well, now.
No, me neither.
Yeah. What's what's got? Stampede, nice fun racing games. Bit of a Mario Kart type thing. Crash Team Racing. Sulfur, first person shooter. Get role playing. Roguelike. Tales of Iron 2. Times in Galaxy. Vampire Survivors. I would like to go back and watch this entire show properly. Because then
Yeah.
I'd be able to get to see what these are about rather than just scanning through them. But yeah, I am happy that Microsoft are really pushing these indie titles and putting them in the spotlight.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing. Indie games are
Mm.
need some more exposure.
Yeah, definitely. And I know Xbox have their big exclusive titles with all the studios they've been buying up over the years, but I think the I think these indie games could really drive their sales forward more than the big games, which are going to be cross-platform and on PC. So, especially if the rumors are true about an Xbox handheld coming out, I think these games will do great on that platform.
Yeah.
So, I think that's enough talk about video games because we were going to talk about Star Wars Outlaws coming out and everything like that. But shall we move on to movies and everything? And we have something that you are a big fan of,
Yes. This is
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah, if I could just bring it up. I'm getting rid of ads as well.
Or as they say in Japanese, Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Oh
Yaiba.
yeah. Can we see the Demon Slayer thing? Yeah, there it is.
Very nice.
9 best written characters and get rid of that
Ooh.
29. I was looking at, you can see I was looking at Edinburgh to Brighton tickets. Yes. I was looking at Develop Brighton. I wasn't searching around. Anyway, Demon Slayer. Tell
I
me.
love the characters of Demon Slayer. There's there's a lot to. I mean, I don't know where do you want me to start. Do you want me to talk
Sure.
about the characters that are listed here,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, let's go through the list and
yeah, we
see
can do
where you
that.
stand with them. Yeah. And I'll try to get rid of ads.
Shinobu, yeah, coach. It's they've described her as one of the more likable characters. Um, she's mysterious. I think, like for me, like the character development was very interesting. Um, because she doesn't speak a lot. So Tanjiro, which is the main protagonist of Demon Slayer, in the interactions with her, we don't really see a lot of her emotions or thoughts. But at one point, I remember there was like him sitting on a rooftop with her, and he was like, "You're very angry, aren't you?" And she was like shocked that he would be able to tell her feelings. And then after they got really, really injured, she was so worried about him. I think that was her. I can't remember actually if it was her that was sat next to him when
Mm,
he was injured. But yeah, she seems very sweet. But a woman of very few words, though.
yeah. I mean, I'm fairly new to Demon Slayer, and I'm fairly well. I've seen this character obviously, but I really don't know too much about them. I've not been exposed to them too much,
Yeah.
but I do like the design.
Yes, it's really nice. I like the butterflies and the purple.
Mm.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, because
She's not one of my favorites, though.
she the character that showed up when our crazy, wacky, scared friend was like heavily sedated or drugged poisoned. So
I can't remember.
yeah, up in the trees with them, the spider kind of web stuff and everything.
Yeah.
I can't see you know much more and better about Demon Slayer than I do. I just remember the scenes. But shall I move on to Gotaro?
Yeah, do you know what? I actually don't remember too much about him. Just the fact that him and his sister were incredibly close, and it was a really lovely and tragic story. Like how much he cared for her and how much she. I don't know. Yeah, it was exactly what it describes in this article, and it's like incredibly bittersweet because you're almost conditioned to really hate the villains
Mm,
um in Demon Slayer because some of them are just straight up nasty, but when they start showing the reasonings why, it's like you start to sympathize with the bad guys. And I think that's some of the things that Demon Slayer does well is make characters that you can sympathize with or can be like, oh yeah, but life was really, really shitty to them. Like humans were shitty to them, so of course this is what happened.
yeah.
But yeah,
Because this was my first exposure to one of the real kind of big villains in the game. Not in the game, in
yeah,
it is a game, but in the series.
yeah. It goes down like an It's a really interesting and climatic showdown, isn't it? Because what's his face Tengen is like completely injured after the entire encounter, and Tanjiro is like just trying to like grab the last piece of like energy and motivation he has left to try and help defeat this guy, and it's like it
Mm.
was insane. It was
Yeah.
really good. It had one of the most like insane animations I'd seen in a very long time as well.
Mm.
Demon Slayer is very well known for its like stunning visuals. It's just so fantastic. It's one of the reasons that I absolutely love Demon Slayer is for its um yeah.
Yeah, I noticed the visuals got even better as the seasons have went on, and it's I think they've
Yes.
changed, kind of tweaked the style a little bit as well. Which I don't know if it's just to do with the theme or that season or the arc, but every I think the style of the art and complexity of it in each series is its own character in itself.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Next one of your favorites, and one of mine too.
This is my favorite character. Um Zenitsu. Uh Often displayed and shown as a scaredy cat who only has one one move which he only is able to do when he falls asleep, but he becomes a completely different character when he falls asleep, which is quite interesting. um he's is lightning based, so he's got lightning breath, and his animations and combat style is really really fantastic. One of the things I really like about Zenitsu is that although he's like pretty shitty character, like if you just at face value take him as he is, he he protects and loves Nezuko like beyond anything else, and his like sleeping self is so concerned with looking after her as well. And I
Mm,
think he's going to have one of the most insane and good character arcs because he's so lame.
yeah.
Right now, I feel like he's gonna just like, yeah. I don't know if he's gonna unlock more than just that level one lightning breathing form attack that he has, but I would love to see him just like unlock a repertoire of insane stuff. But
Mm.
yeah, we'll see where it goes. But I do
But
love him.
yeah, I really like this character. I thought I was a bit on the fence to begin with. I mean, the because being scared and frightened of everything initially was a bit too much. I was like, wow, what am I being exposed to here?
Yeah.
And then his kind of interest in everything. I was on the line between is it protective or obsessive.
Yeah.
It started off with me thinking he was a bit too obsessive, but it's kind as the series is going on, it's kind of moved to the other side now.
Yeah.
And as I've
And
come to appreciate that, I've come to like the character a lot more.
and one interesting piece of information might have passed some people by. It certainly did me until I realized, but Zenitsu is the only one of the Hashira that doesn't have a crow, he has a sparrow.
Yeah.
So his messenger is a sparrow, like everyone else has the crow.
And do we know why?
I think there's something to do with his character and the fact that he's really fast. Like he's got a lot of speed with his lightning. So I haven't dug into it too deeply, but it's yeah. I think there's something there. I don't know why yet, but I'm really keen to find out and if it gets explained at some point.
Yeah, it might be an entire season backstory.
Yeah. I wonder if it's where does it just have oh it's a finch. Yeah.
Hmm.
Or a finch or a sparrow. Yeah. It's interesting. I look forward to finding out.
Here's our next one, who I think has become,
Inosuke.
yeah, I think this is one of my favorites now as well.
Yeah, people love him. I hate him.
I initially found him really annoying, but I've come to
Yeah.
like him. Yeah.
I think he adds a lot of comedy value to situations, and I think he has a lot more depth as a character than I gave him credit for to start with. But yeah, I think yeah, he's definitely a character I'm gonna remember for a very long time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Love him or hate him, he's definitely something.
Yeah,
He's certainly left his mark on the series.
for sure.
Now, this one I don't know much about. I mean, I've seen them.
Yeah,
I know of them, but we haven't learned too much.
Tengen. He's very flashy, very very loud, very bold. Um, and he's got three wives, I think.
Oh, it's this one.
Yeah,
I
he's got
was,
three
yeah.
wives, and
I know now.
he's quite flashy and loud and strong. And I think I've really, to start with, I was just like, oh, cool. Like I was taken back by his like very abrasive like cockiness, but then you see him have a lot of like emotion displayed during the fight, in which he gets incredibly injured, and everyone's just like almost dies because of the imploding brother enemy villain.
Mm,
But yeah, and his concern for his wives equally, like all of the care he shows for all of them, it's very sweet. So he's
yeah.
got more depth of emotion and range of emotion than I thought he did to start
Mm.
with, and I think that's really nice.
Yeah, I was thinking I was getting two characters mixed up, but I remember watching it in this when he nearly died. I thought if he did die, it would be really annoying because I thought, are they just going to kill off all of them?
Yeah, it'll be like a Game
But
of Thrones situation where all the characters are just going to die.
yeah, but thankfully, not. So that surprised me.
Yeah.
Next,
Oh, Nezuko.
Netsuko. Yeah,
Nezuko. Like everyone loves Nezuko. I would be hard pressed to find someone that doesn't like Nezuko.
yeah. I'm actually getting an alert from her on my stream soon, so watch out for that.
Very
Mm.
nice. Yeah, I think what I really love about Nezuko is she just fights her demon urges all the time and is developing as a result of that. But also, obviously, um, Muzan was had turned her into demon, and then now is following her like development quite closely because she's starting to develop like special demon powers that most people don't have. She's got like the
Yeah,
blood art, which, yeah. And if everyone's seen the last arc, you'll know Nezuko takes a huge step in another development direction and
yeah.
evolves.
Should we say? I mean, we can
I
say.
don't know, like,
Yeah.
turn off now and mute us if you don't want spoilers. I guess.
Yes. Yeah, spoiler, but yeah, she can actually, well, she's the only one of the demons that can actually survive and be out in light, right?
Yeah,
Which is the
yeah.
big thing.
She's
It's the,
able to be out in sunlight now, and that is the power that Muzan has wanted since he became a demon himself many, 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 many moons ago.
mm,
So he's now wanting to. I think the last stuff that we see is obviously Nezuko and Tanjiro reuniting in the sun, and she actually talks to him as well. So maybe we can see more communication coming from Nezuko going forward.
yeah.
Um,
So we're going to
and
see her without the mouthpiece, or will she
yeah,
still need it? Yeah.
yeah, and she's like talking and all sorts, and then we see it cuts to Muzan looking like manic, and he's like, I finally found it, like she's finally developed this thing. So I feel like we're going to see a bit of a hunt happening very soon.
Yeah. And there's going to be, I don't know how far many seasons down the line, but there's going to be a big encounter with those two.
Yeah.
And maybe Tanjiro dies. Does he? Who knows? Speaking of Tanjiro, or is it
Yeah,
Tanjiro?
Tanjiro. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a he's a wholesome, all round good guy. We even
Mm-hmm.
saw that from, when he was on the Mugen train and they were trying to invade his subconscious mind, and it was just pure light. It's
Yeah.
like such a representation of what he is as a character. Um,
Do you think he suffers from some form of imposter syndrome?
no,
No?
no, I don't think he suffers from any imposter syndrome. I think
I only say that because he
he's
doesn't believe in himself a lot.
I think he feels like he never has, after his entire family got murdered, he doesn't know if he's able to protect everyone that he cares about because that giant murder happened.
Mm.
And his sister got turned into a demon, and Rengoku died, and a lot of things happened that he just can't stop. So I think his desire to like help and be better and you know, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think a lot of the time these shonen animes they go through that, not believing quite in yourself and then finding the willpower and strength. It's like you're reminded that the friends and family that are around you
Yeah,
keep you going, that kind of thing.
it's just he's. I always every single battle he's in, and it's multiple times in every battle. He's always having to give himself that kind of like self pep talk.
Yeah, I think he's got
Mm.
really low self confidence.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but he's probably the first character in Demon Slayer that I was exposed to without knowing what Demon Slayer was. I just saw kind of this face everywhere.
yeah.
So much so I ended up with a hoodie with him on the back of it with Netsuko and still didn't know what Demon Slayer was. And then you told me
Wow.
about it, and then like, oh, I've got a hoodie for that. Next is Mr. Tasty.
Yeah.
Please pronounce
Flame
the name.
Hashira Kyo Yuru Rengoku.
Thank you.
I've actually never seen his surname before.
Mm. Really?
Yeah, I've
Hmm.
only known him as Rengoku. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Flame Hashira, who was completely not disowned, but just was not good enough for his father to be acknowledged as a good, excellent Hashira, and it was very very sad when he passed away in the Mugen Train arc. But
Yeah, and there was his brother as well, wasn't there? Yeah.
yeah, his brother
Mm-hmm.
as well, and we got the hilt of his sword. I think Tanjiro has on his hilt now because that was gifted to him, and the dad, Rengoku's dad, eventually gave Tanjiro. I think I can't remember if he actually did give him the tome with the information of sun breathing, which is like the most powerful and extinct parts of power that there is. But
Mm.
we all know that Tanjiro can do this particular type of breathing because there's been
Yeah.
some moments. But yeah, Rengoku was a good egg.
Yeah, I liked his character, so I was kind of sad that they were kind of killed off.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Then number one. This is another one I don't know too much of.
Yeah, same. Um, I don't know too much about him, but he was the one who killed Rengoku. Um, I think one thing that Akaza is very interesting for is the fact that Tanjiro was like trying to run after him when he was like injured,
Yeah.
and he was like a bit shocked. It was yeah, but other than that, I don't really know much about him, and
Was
I kind
this?
of like his design. He reminds me a bit of Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but was this the one that tried to get Rengoku as a demon so they can fight endless battles over and over?
Eh, yes, yes,
Mm.
he did. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah. Because
that's
Rengoku was really strong. Like, um, so he wanted to what's the word? Recruit him.
yeah, it's one of the things that I remember. I wasn't sure if it was them or not, but yeah, I think yeah, you'd say all these characters are very well written. I don't know if there's anybody missing from that list that you think should be there. Someone that comes to mind, I don't know their name, but they are the like the swordsmith. How their characters have changed, they've evolved. Know that makes the swords.
Oh yeah,
Wears
yeah.
that mask, and they've kind of bulked up in the last season.
Hotaru.
Hmm.
Yeah.
S-
It's yeah, and it's really interesting because I think Hotaru looks so much like an adult Tanjiro.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you, I don't know if I can send links or anything, but if you Google and see his face, he just looks like almost like maybe also an adult Rengoku. It's very interesting. But yeah, his uh, his mask fell off and we all saw him. It was quite interesting to finally see his face.
Hmm. Yeah. So I think that was a nice little thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Especially since you're a huge fan of Demon Slayer and you're the one that got me to watch it, and I am very thankful for, and it's something I
Yeah.
definitely enjoy now. But
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a visual masterpiece, but the writing as well is insane. And I do feel like the fact that they killed or that Rengoku died, I feel like we might need to brace ourselves for more of the Hashira perishing in battles in the future. But hopefully not Tanjiro.
Yeah, sadly. Thankfully, it's not all of them because I thought that's what was going to happen when the second season came along. I thought they were just all going to die, but I'm happy they didn't. Now, um, bit of a thing. I don't know if you've watched this because you don't have any interest in the games, do you?
Fallout, no.
Yeah, gonna briefly talk about this just because it's pretty big right now. I know a lot of people are jumping on the hype train with Fallout, and the games are really popular on streams right now. Which something about it. One of the things that they did with this is when they released it on Amazon is they released every episode all at once, which I wasn't a big fan of.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they kind of missed a step there because if they released it weekly, it would have kept the engagement going with the streams, especially because you got all these content creators are now playing the games, but they played it for a week and then they've just moved on to the next thing because they have to keep jumping onto the next thing that's trending. So I feel it's kind of, but I think this Fallout series with Il Purnell as the main protagonist, Lucy was really good. It was really on point. Tons of Easter eggs from the games. Love that it started in a vault. Love the uniforms. Love all the characters. The way it's set. It actually goes back and tells a lot of the backstory, the origins of how all the vaults started, which you never really fully got explained in the games. You kind of got hinted, but you weren't sure. So finding out all these different corporations that got together and they were basically selling these vaults as some future where all these corporations can do what they want in this new world where their whatever own laws existed. So you've got Vault Tech who basically decided they were just going to do a self nuke on America and force everybody into these vaults and start their own new life where all these kind of lives live out in these vaults where everything else goes on in the outside world where mutations and crazy worlds going on. We don't talk about Vault 68 and 69. Oh, I wonder why. But yeah, I thought it was worth talking about Fallout because it's just a really good TV series. It's it doesn't venture at all away from the games. It stays true to it, and a lot of fan service there, and I think it's definitely worth it. So go watch it if you haven't. Even if you haven't played the Fallout games, I would recommend the series, which is on Prime now for free. No paid endorsement there at
I
all.
was gonna
I
say
should
you
say.
paid to say this. Pops up to the advert, product placement. You got Nika
Yeah,
Cole in the back.
I
Prime.
mean, it would be nice to get paid for things, and then yeah, I
Yeah.
can buy more things. But yeah, that's it. Right. Something else we had on this the final part of this section on movies and now that was the new Deadpool Wolverine trailer. Do,
Mm.
do we want to give it a watch?
I've already watched it a couple of times.
Yeah, I think we can skip watching it because the last time I showed a video trailer, when I uploaded it to YouTube, I got flagged and I had to kind of mute the audio for that
Yeah.
section.
Yeah.
There are ways to get around these things, but I'm not doing all the fancy editing. But yeah,
No. No. Let's
but
just say
yeah,
Deadpool, Wolverine.
yeah.
It's gonna be big. I look forward to it. I see Doctor Strange as circles happening. He's jumping through the multiverses. There's there's stuff going on. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Some of the one of the other trailers I saw the DBA as well come into play from Loki, the series there. So I think there's a lot of cross pollination across some of the series and videos and plot lines. So, and because it's Ryan Reynolds, I swear to God, I love that guy more than any other celebrity in the whole world. He's my favorite. He's up top, just
Yeah.
being chaotic. And the fact that he gets Hugh Jackman back into the Wolverine role again and again, it's just fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds was actually on my list. No, when you have those, if there's like four celebrities you can go to dinner with or be stuck in the lift with, Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds was on my list with Jennifer Lawrence, Robin Williams, and Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
That
interesting
was
mix.
my list. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Do you have four that you would have on your list? Little
Definitely Ryan
segue.
Reynolds,
Mm-hmm.
Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hiddleston, and Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton is an awesome underrated actor.
Really, so underrated,
Yeah,
underrated actor, and I just love her vibe and aesthetics.
yeah,
Like,
same.
I fell in love with her as an actress when she was Lucifer or Gabriel in Dogma.
Hmm.
Was she in Dogma?
I'm not
Was it?
sure. What I remember,
No,
my first
it.
exposure to her was Constantine.
That's the one. That's what I
Yeah.
meant. Constantine.
Mm.
That's when she's Gabriel. She's Gabriel the angel.
Mm. Ah,
Ryan was born to play Deadpool.
yeah.
Definitely.
And chat saying Chris Pratt, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yep.
I've heard positive things about him because my best friend works in film and TV and, of course, has met him. Yeah. And has good things to say, which is good because you never know how people are off camera. So that's good. Morgan Freeman, yeah, definitely there. Snoop Dogg is an interesting choice. I mean, never been too much exposed to Snoop Dogg apart from, well, know their songs, but of course, when they've appeared on like wrestling in recent years, when I've got back into that. But yeah, that's a good list. But yeah, making me want to watch Constantine now.
Keanu Reeves is like on my list of people I would love to have a long, prolonged chat with as well. If
Yeah.
I have a top five, I mean, it would interchange so much because there's so many people. Like Tom Holland, I would love to have a chat with. Keanu Reeves, actually would love to chat to Hugh Jackman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, there's loads of people. Would be really nice to sit down and have a conversation with and be like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
What's your favorite food?
Yeah, just normal chat. It's,
Yeah.
it's one of the things I like about Edinburgh is you see celebrities going about all the time, and there's this sort of respect from the locals here, and they just allow them to go on and do their business. There might be a hill how you're doing and all that stuff, like acknowledge that you know who they are, but we let them get on, and you just see they're just normal people.
Yeah.
Mm. So
Yeah.
it's nice to just have a normal chat with them. I mean, there's probably some people would love to ask questions about like some movies or series or anything, but I'd just like to have just a nice chat, coffee, wine, whatever with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's this message I'm reading chat here? I reckon if you message Ryan's Insta and just went, "Hey, I know you're a busy man, but I'd love to have you on the podcast," he'd probably respond. He probably would. He's the
He
type that
probably
would.
would, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I really love about Ryan Reynolds as well is do you know the Korean pop band group Stray Kids?
Mm-mm. No.
So I'm quite tapped into the Korean pop music world. Obviously, we have BTS are the big ones that everyone knows, and you have Blackpink, like the girl band and that. But what Stray Kids? is a band or like a K-pop group as well of like I think there's 6 or 7 guys, and Ryan Reynolds has sometimes promoted some of their stuff on his Instagram and like tagged them or like sent them aviation gin as a gift, and the main like vocalist in the band has like done like shown the aviation gin on like one of the like streams that they did, and the Stray Kids have got uh one song that's called Red Lights, which is slightly edgy, and Ryan Reynolds likes to put that edgy song over like very innocent content sometimes. It's really funny. Yes, it's Felix, one of the Stray Kids singer has a deep voice, Felix. So Felix and Bang Chan are the two main people that most people will know, and they are actually Australian. So when they speak English, they have like a really Australian accent. And Felix is a very dainty sort of like stature, like very sort of quite lean, small, very beautiful man. And the voice, the deep voice that comes out of him is like you would expect that from like a big, like bro, like it's really, really deep. It's so cool, so good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Are they really?
Yeah, if you listen to Bang Chan, it's like, hello. No, no. Like, they're so Australian. It's ridiculous. Not the entire group isn't Australian, just them two. The rest of them are Korean, and their English is, you know, a lot of the Korean pop bands, they won't be able to speak English very well, but they always try and learn it. So some of them are very well good at speaking English, and some of them aren't as well spoken. So a lot of the time, Felix and Christopher is his actual name, but Bang Chan is kind of what you call them. They will speak for them or help them with like
Hmm.
English stuff.
It's something I've found kind of interesting. It's a bit of a segue where it doesn't matter where you're from, but if you have like your native language isn't English, and then they speak English, it's like in a completely different register.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really
yeah.
throws you off at first when they switch.
It's the same for me in Norwegian. I sound completely different in Norwegian, and anyone who is multilingual will tell you you have slightly different personalities based on your like your languages. So
Mm.
I am different in English than I am in Norwegian, than I am in Swedish, and my Japanese is like completely different. I will sound and act more like demure Japanese, sort of like honorable, like having that like body language, and I'll be like, they're very apologetic. They're like, you know, and then Norwegian is very like, and then English is a bit more refined again. So I'm very well spoken. I have a very vast vocabulary, you know. And Swedish is a bit more melodic, so I'll be a little bit more playful. So you have different personas based on your different languages, so your register will change as well. So my Japanese is a lot more high pitched, I think, and cute, and
Mm.
then my Norwegian's a bit more broad and like punchy. Yeah.
That's interesting where you make the comment where you say you go a bit more high pitched and cute when you speak Japanese. But
Mm.
I find people in Japan when they go to English, they go high pitched and cute, and then
Oh
sometimes they
really?
go. It kind of flips. I find.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on the person. It depends like how did you learn the language? Where were you when you learned the language? All that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a nice little chat that wasn't planned, which I like. Which is
Yeah.
perhaps a good way for the podcast to go in general. Is
Yeah.
more casual, relaxed kind of
Casual
things.
chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in between. So, I think we're getting near the end of episode one with
Yeah.
one final thing to talk about, and it's our mental health, shall we call it pause for now, or moment, or minute,
Mind moment.
mind moment. I need to kind of think some sort of gaming kind of thing. But this week's topic is your life goal slash dream job not being all it was cracked up to be. Because sometimes when we're probably in school or even maybe younger, we have our dream job that we want to be, and we focus all our education and hobbies and everything around us and work towards it. And we get there and it's not what you expect. It's not for you. You perhaps didn't like it. Which and it's a bit of a mental thing because it kind of leaves you a bit lost, perhaps, because then you don't know what you want to do.
Mm.
But then what I find is it's completely normal to feel that way because what you don't realize is when you're growing up, you're also maturing and your likes and dislikes are changing and your goalposts are changing as well at the same time. So you might find that what you actually want to be isn't what you're destined to be. So, what's your thoughts on an experience?
Oh, you cut up for me.
Yeah, you had a weird kind of freeze
Still
frame
there?
there a moment. I have an echo at the moment. It might go away. Are we good?
Okay. Yeah. You completely frozen, disappeared a bit for me. So I was like, I wasn't sure what was going on. I heard. What do you think? Maybe.
Yeah, I was said, what do you think on this topic and what's your experience and have you experienced this yourself?
I never really had a dream job. Like, I remember having very poor guidance at A levels. No, before that, like at school, in terms of like what I could do next, because I had a lot of interest in writing and books and languages and creative things, but never really had someone to guide me to a job or to further education in that field. So I remember going to culinary school right after school. So like my A levels, my first year was basically a foundational degree in which I could then the next year specialize if I wanted to become a butcher or a pastry chef or a chef or a something in the lines of in the food industry. And I remember dropping out, not dropping out actually, because I didn't want to drop out of the year. I wanted to finish the year, but I realized like halfway in this wasn't for me. And I thought like making desserts would be like that's amazing. That's my dream thing. But then that's not what it ended up being. So I kind of failed that degree as well because there was a lot of like science and microbiology that I was just not interested in. And my love for food and making food didn't come until much later. That's when I went into art for 3 years. But I went to university in England and I wanted to be a professor and get my PhD, but that didn't turn out the way I wanted. So I ended up in customer service for like 10 years
Hmm.
in call centers. And I was like, this is not what I want to do. And then I got the job in the gaming industry and I was like, this is it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it feels good to find that because not everybody does. So a lot of people just go out their entire life working some dead end job that they have no interest in. It's just bringing in the money and
mm,
paying the bills.
yeah.
And they kind of give up on their dreams, but it's never too late to go after these, is it?
No, and I think it's really important to understand that in the past, I think the way people have looked at jobs is you get a job somewhere and that's where you end up staying for the rest of your life. But I think it's much better to, I wouldn't say job hop, but at least gain a lot of experience in different fields and explore because you can take side steps like I did when I went to customer support at Ubisoft. I took a side step into community representative and became then I could take an up step to community manager. And then I moved from Ubisoft to a different company. And I think it's important to not feel like you're stuck where you are. If it at any point becomes something that you think, actually, I just lost really the interest for it, or sometimes you can hit like a bit of what I call the glass ceiling, or what it is called the glass ceiling, and you're like, you've become experienced, you've become knowledgeable, but your day-to-day job is no longer a challenge in the way that it challenges your mind and brain to think of different things. just challenges how you structure your day in terms of your workload. So that's a different challenge. So for me, I stagnate when I'm not able to challenge myself to do different things. So and that's why I can announce that I'm leaving the company that I'm working with now to do freelance jobs, and that is something new that I've never done before, which I'm going to learn so much, and it's going to be indie games and indie developers. I'm going to do new things and become the next level of myself. And I could do that for a while and decide I actually don't like that, and then maybe I'll do something different. I think it's important that you always just follow how you feel. If it
Yeah.
starts feeling like this is your life, like you have such a short amount of time on this planet and you spend a lot of it working, make your work something that isn't 100% shit.
Yeah. It's awesome that you've got to that place where you realize this is what you want to do. And I think with you going freelances, it also gives you that freedom to explore everything else on the side and have your own little projects on the go, and then set
Yeah.
up potential businesses and everything. And then today you became a mentor, so
Yes, I did. I did.
that
I've
way
had a
you
lot of
can,
support
yeah,
online.
you can give people the guidance that perhaps you never had when you were searching for yourself and searching for what you
Yeah.
were to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I think that's so valuable. You gotta constantly you're always evolving. You're getting older. Sadly, everyone is getting older.
Yeah.
But like what I enjoyed at 27 is different from what I enjoy at 37, which is going to be completely different to what I enjoy at 47. So I say seven because I'll be 37 in June. So I was like,
Yeah.
that's why I chose some very obscure numbers for age. But I could get the next 5 years and be like, you know what? I want to be a sea captain. I want to be on a crab trawling boat in the Northern Sea, or I might want to be, I don't know, panda babysitter in China, or maybe I want to be a shoe shiner somewhere. Like you can. There's no
Yeah.
shame in just suddenly saying, actually, do you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to do something completely different. Um,
And
Go with it.
yeah, I probably encourage you to do something completely different and challenge yourself.
Mm.
Because you'll find out so much more about yourself if you're doing something you don't know too much about, I think.
Yeah, I feel with not liking what you do in your present moment leads to an apathy, which means you are not engaging anyway. So might as well make your environment something different, and then you have to learn something. A
Mm.
lot of people will have the fear that comes with that I don't know what I could do. So a lot of people cling on to the safety, and they'll rather be miserable where they know what they're doing than be, you know, a potential happy where they don't understand what they need to do and they need to learn it again. Because the more we grow older, the more we become fearful of things we don't know, because it's fear of the unknown. We get very comfortable in very familiar places, which is for a lot of people when it comes to mental health as well. It's difficult to move away from the feeling sad and depressed and down, because you can't conceive what happy is, because that means doing something different, and doing something different is scary.
Yeah. Hello, Jax.
Just had a cat zoom across my keyboard.
Yeah. Or some black
It's
blur. What was that?
my very
Keyboard. But yeah, Jack, I had some thought I was going to say, but then Jack's kind of just went past
Jax
and I was
just
like,
ran
yeah.
past it. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. He's getting antsy. It's usually his bedtime about now, so he's
mm.
like getting restless.
But yeah, I think my kind of interest in what I want to do is completely changed, and I'm kind of at this moment where I'm not sure anymore. I remember I started off wanting to be a pilot because I loved the Top Gun movie.
Mm.
And I
Wow.
remember every time I mentioned that, my teacher or friends in class used to think, "Oh, you want to be a pirate?" And I went, "No, a pilot. I want to fly planes." But it always stuck with it, and that actually threw me and knocked my confidence a bit, and I stopped wanting to be that. And
Oh.
getting a bit older, getting more interested in crazy stuff, activities and everything, I wanted to end up being a outdoor activity coordinator, doing all the kayak and rock climbing and everything, teaching kids how to do all these, have these outside experiences and adventures. But and I was on my way to that. I was centering all my education around that, and even potentially being a physical education teacher. But
Yeah.
that didn't happen because I got sent wrong exam results. For therefore, I couldn't get my university place, and
Oh.
and because there was a huge mix-up, I had to go back on to my prelim results and try and use them to get the university spot. But by that time, it was too late. So then I ended up doing all these working with animals stuff, which was a nice interest. Everything, still wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Playing video games in my spare time. PlayStation Home comes along. I'm doing all these kind of private QA tests and stuff. Again, my goalposts seem to be changing. End up becoming a community. What? What was I? Event organizer was my title at Alpha Zone 4. And I started to realize I really enjoyed that. And then I had the opportunity to become an assistant community manager with PlayStation, but then that job disappeared. But I was still a community rep for PlayStation while it was called an MVP, and I thought this felt right. This is what I want to be.
Mm.
So I did a lot of that in spare time. But then as I've got older, I don't know what it is, but my interest in these things have kind of dissipated a bit, and I'm at this point where I don't know what I want to do.
Mm.
And that's because I think, do I even want to work in the gaming industry anymore? And right now, I think no.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I thought that too. It's a
and
very valid question. Oh, things to say
yeah, and
as
that's
well.
okay because from my own experiences and experiences of friends and everything, it's not quite what I was expecting or hoping it would be, or it's kind of changed. And but even though I felt a little bit lost, I have the whole Venn diagram thing and said, here's all my experiences, here's all my skills, throw them all together, and like, what can I actually branch out and do? So I'm going down on those paths and kind of trying to challenge myself and see what else is possible.
Yeah.
And it's a scary moment, but I think the human brain is kind of wired to be a bit negative and scared and worried and not sure about things, and that's what kind of
Mm.
pushes us.
It's because
And
it's wired to protect you.
yeah, mm,
It's a self-preservation thing. It will protect you from what is unknown and scary. It's like back in the cave days when, yeah, you would go into a cave, it's dark, it's black, you don't know what's in there, and your brain's going to go, don't go in there, it's dangerous, even though it might not be, you don't
yeah,
know, but your brain is preserving you from, or trying to save you from potential harm and danger, which is a little bit hijacked sometimes. So you've got to just kind of try and override your brain and your natural instincts and be like, yeah, it's scary, but I'll be careful. There might be something good at the end of that cave. Maybe it's
mm,
a fishing lake and it'll provide plenty of fish to like last the winter or something like that. So you just never know. But yeah, that's the brain just going, we need to keep you safe.
mm. So yeah, we've all had our own different experiences and some similar experiences, but we're all kind of in the same boat. We're all um we lose our way sometimes, and everything isn't quite what it's expected to be, or you would hope it would be.
Yeah.
But that's completely fine. And sometimes it just takes a reset, a little bit of a push from someone else, and you're always going to be fine in the end, really, aren't you? I think so. I mean, I look at you and you're doing pretty amazing. When I see what's happened this week, I'm like, yay.
Yeah, I've had a really, really good week. It's been quite positive for me, and I think it's just going to get even better. I'm really excited about everything.
Definitely. And it may not seem like that for everyone right now, but it will be. I mean, I have. This is actually something you sent me when I was a little bit down, and it's always here on my desk. This coaster, and it's got, when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars.
Yeah.
which is something to remember. And it always reminds me of that Dolly Parton quote where you have to put up with a little rain to see the rainbow.
Yeah.
So
We
that
can't have
kind of
a
kicks me
rainbow
to
without
that.
rain.
Yeah.
We can't have any stars without complete darkness.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, your dream job, your main goal in life may not turn out to be what you want it to be, but that's fine.
That's okay.
Because you've matured, your brain's matured, your interests have changed, and your priorities have changed. You might end up having a family at the time when you finally find this is your calling. Mm.
Yeah. This is
So,
it.
a nice little topic to talk about with mental health. It's not the usual mental health topics, but that's what we're trying to do because mental health just isn't about anxiety and depression and those very obvious, the main headline things. There's a whole lot
Certainly
more
is a
deeper conversation.
multifaceted question, not question, topic that can go in very many directions. So yeah.
Yeah. And on that, we should probably wrap things up because I've kept you longer, but not as long as last time.
No, we did better this time. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going. I mean, if there is more of these, we'll try and bring it down and make it shorter and shorter because it is called the Rendezvous Hour. I mean, so we'll try and get it down a bit
Yeah.
shorter and have more guests and the same guests and everything. So if anybody
Amazing.
wants watching or that and wants to actually be a guest host, remember it's not an interview, you're actually guest hosting. Be awesome to have you on. So
Cool.
yeah. Any closing statements, messages?
No, just hydrate, look after yourselves, everyone. Go after your dreams. Do the thing that you've been putting off, and make sure to get plenty of sleep because sleep is very important for your health.
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's it. And thank you for having me as a
Yeah.
guest.
Thank you too. Always a pleasure to have you and Sophie Segan too. All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you and yeah, have an awesome week. Bye for
You.
now. I think we can talk still. Yeah, you're completely fine. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know if it was the performance thing that was popping up, but I know you lost me at one point, didn't you? Yeah. And occasionally there was a slight echo at your end, and then it went to like dark, and then it came back again. Yeah, which is why I may have kind of talked over you a few times to like tune that out. Mm-hmm. You still hear me? Why do you still hear me? Can you hear Karina? Sorry, I can edit this out when I put it on YouTube. Rogue, can you hear Karina still? If you hear me now, then that means you heard me in the intro as well. Oh, it's just me you hear. Okay, so that's going to be awkward at the beginning of the stream since I'm just going to be talking to myself. Yeah, good to know. I'll have to figure that out. Oh, what I have to do is I can see. Even though I hit the mute button there, it didn't mute that. And I'm back again. Going and saying Karina is just a figment of imagination. Yeah, I've dreamed up an amazing person, an amazing friend, but they're not there.